Hello, my name's John Eggleston. I'm carp angler from Liverpool. I'll be travelling the country doing vlogs, targeting big carp, anything over £35, £40. If I'm lucky, over £50. I'll be travelling down south to all different places. I'm currently just turned up this morning on my syndicate, which is in Peterborough, which is called the Folly, which is known on the circuit, if you like. It's got 10 fish which have gone over £40 at one time or another, but usually there's about 8 of them which is regularly over £40. One of them's done 50. Been on here 2 years, but it's been broken up by COVID, so I fished 6 months the first year, from June to December, and again the second year sort of June till December again, but I never fished November. I've had God, how many have I had? Just under 50 fish. There's a stock of about 70 in here. Obviously some of those fish that I've caught are recaptures, so I've probably had about half the stock in that time. I've turned up this morning now when there was 3 anglers on, and I've been lucky enough to see a fish called basil, £36, so I photographed that for one of the lads. And then just as I was setting up in this swim here, on the other side of the island, which I'll show you in a minute, Lee Collins there, he's just had a fish called moonscale, which is a cracking old fish, which is has been up to upper 40s. It was £41, 2 ounces, and you can see it's going to just put on what date are we now? End of March, so about the 22nd, 23rd of March, something like that. So he's only going to be putting on weight as it approaches spawning. So yeah, there's approximately 10 fish which have done over £40, and they're obviously classed as the A team, and out of them I've had 5 of them, and there's one called the Italian, which is 35 at the moment. There's only a few fish being caught this month, I think about 4 or 5 fish. As it happens, there was 2 last night, but one of them earlier on in the month was caught by Wayne at £35, called the Italian, so he's down in weight. There's a fish that I haven't caught called Cuttail Junior, he's been caught as well, he was 38. There's the pig, which goes up to, has been over £50 on a couple of times, but he should be about £45 to £48 at the moment, or as he approaches spawning, getting up to about 48, maybe 49, and you never know, it could even go bigger. And then there's, what else is there? There's a fish called black spot, which I haven't caught, which he'll be around the £40 mark, goes up to about 43, maybe a bit bigger. And there's one called the spot common, which is a rare visitor to the bank. It come out 3 times last year though, which is quite a lot for that fish, and he'll be about 41, 42. So they're the main ones which I haven't caught, and they're the ones I'm after. It's very tricky little water, but you know, if you do get it right, you can have your rewards. But you got to try and stay obviously 2 steps ahead of the angler and 1 step ahead of the fish, and you've got half a chance on here. Everyone can see what you're doing, and it is a small water, it's only about 10 acres, got an island in the middle. But the good thing about here is you can fish under the trees, you can get them feeding, you can watch them, and it's nice to see 40-pounders picking up your bait or rejecting your rigs, which is what they do. And you have to just play around with things, try and get it right. So I'll just spin the camera around. So I'm fishing with me dog, Ruby. It's not been too good. It's only our 2nd time out this year because she's been quite poorly, and I wasn't sure whether I'd be getting out, but we thought we'd give it a go. Are you okay? Yeah, so hopefully she'll be fine. But this is the lake anyway. I'll spin it round. And let's see. So there's me rods. I'll go down and have a look at the swim in more detail. Over there, this swim's called Lower Point. that's called the bog over there. That's where Wayne is. He's just finishing off today. He isn't caught. And he's caught most of the fish out the lake. He's been on here a couple of years like myself, and he's just after a couple, I think. I think the one he wants most is the pig, which is the biggest one in the lake, and for some reason neither of us have caught it, but just the way it is. I think it's only been out 2-3 times last year at most, and the year before that it come out quite a lot, and every time it come out last year it was like over £48. So it was good for whoever caught it. It's a big old English carp. So this is usually a lot more overgrown here, but someone's cut it back. So we'll just have a little look. So you've got they do in the summer months. There's a little flat spot. Something just before the ripple there. There's a little flat spot in between the wind lines there, and they come round that corner, and if you can get them going just there. They trough it all up through all the weed beds. It's a very weedy water, and they trough it all up there. So far the only fish I've seen are the two on the bank, which the 41 was directly online the other side of the island there, and I think he caught it in open water, but I'm not 100% sure. So anyway, let's go down and have a little look at this swim. So on my left hand rod, where are we? You got some overhang branches that go in the water there. I have gone underneath. I've dropped the rig on the other side of those branches that are in the water. I've dipped the rod underneath and I've got it locked up. So in theory, and all the fish I've ever caught from there have sprung out into the open water. You've got the channel there, which they do show a lot in this channel as they pass through backwards and forwards, usually in the mornings, and people do pick them up. I have caught 1 or 2 in that channel, but not from this swim, from the swim to the left. I've never been able to get a take over there where that coot is. I don't know if you can pick that up. And on that bank I just can't seem to get a take. But that corner of that island, it's not too bad. And then comes round. You do have to be careful, so you can only cast out to the left. And on line with that swim over there, there's a nice firmer area, which is usually clear of weed. They call it the 9 wrap spot, obviously, because it's 9 wraps, and it picks up a lot of big fish. And there's a fella on here called Mike Jarvis, and I said, oh, I'm going to find my own spots, and he told me, just don't ignore the obvious spots, because they do come on there and feed, which he was right, because I caught one of the bigger ones off there. The same fish as Lee caught. I caught it not last year, year before at 44, and I've caught a lot of other fish off that spot. And you've got all these margins here, and you've got all the margins there. Down there, further down, there's a lot more bushes that overhang, and you can little sandy spots underneath the bushes, and you can get the fish going in there. So it's a cracking little water. But my ticket will be up at the end of May. I'm not going to renew it because I'm just trying to catch 1 or 2 of those ones which I haven't caught yet. There has been otters on here this winter, which has been a pain in the arse, but the owner has they stuck a ramp over the fence, and they seem to have got over it, and any holes which they'd got in through he's tidied up. So hopefully they're gone. We don't think they were seen hunting, and they were only hunting small things like roach and stuff like that. So we don't think they got any carp. Yeah, the things I'll be talking about is let's see. Here's my bivvy here with the dog. It's a bit of a mess because I've not long got here, but I'll just talk about a couple of things and then sort that out. Yeah, so the things I'll be talking about are my tactics. The wind, weather, the air pressure, temperatures, the moon phases, how I read the water, obviously the rigs, bait, the setups I use, and anything I buy. I'll tell you what I think's good and bad. All different tackle that I use. And everything that comes along with carp fishing. The lakes are a fish. If I can say what they are, I will do. And if you can pick up some tips from what I'm doing, hopefully I'll catch a few big ones. It'd be nice. Maybe should have put that 40-pounder on the camera to start off with, and the 36 that I saw before. But hopefully I'll catch one during this session. I've got 3 nights. I do move at a drop of a hat. If I see them, I think they're feeding up the other end, I'll go. If I think they're showing, or I think they should be somewhere, I might put in a little bit of bait, a few handfuls of bait, see if I can get them going. And if they are up there, start feeding, I'll be straight on there. So it's let's see what happens anyway. It's early days. It's about, it's just gone midday. I've got my dog's a poorly dog. She's diabetic and she can only eat certain foods, and I've forgotten her chicken, so I'll have to go to the shop. So I'm going to go to shops at 2 o'clock, pick up a chicken, which pain in the arse, but that's what I've got to do. And I'll get the rods back out. Might go through the rigs, my baits, pop-ups I use, the boilies that I use. And if you can, if it helps you put fish on the bank, give it a go. But anything that's not working, I'll put that on as well to show you that, it's not all, you can do it wrong, but hopefully we won't. We'll get it right. It looks like they're on the feed anyway, because I think there's been four fish caught in March, and 2 of them were this morning. It was -1 degrees, and now the sun's come out. It's really hot, and it should be hopefully get them on the feed. Not that I've seen any proper signs yet, but go through all that later. Yeah, I'll catch you later then. So this is the end of my pop-up is balanced. I'm just going to show you how it's curved. That boom section is distorted a little bit. It'll be okay. So see, you alright? See if you can see. Let's try and see how straight that is. And that's how I have them. It is a little bit blurred. I'll try and try and spin it so you can see how straight it is. I don't want that curve S-ing at all. I think these are 3-ounce leads. A little bit heavy actually for in here. It's just a helicopter leg. I get them off West. Oh yeah, it is a plug, I suppose. West Country leads, which I'll tell you where I get all my stuff from. I buy them in bulk, and they're always perfect. So they're a good lead. There's another fella called Ian Higgs who get me leads off as well, and his are perfect. But I like the Roger and Kerry shape ones, and you get the flat ones off Ian Higgs as well. They're very good. Okay, let's cast this out onto the spot. Okay, here we go. We've moved into this corner swim. Yesterday afternoon there was a lot of fish. They looked like they were more up for a zig than bottom baits, but they were just down there in this corner, about 20 yards away. In fact, I can think I just see one now. This side of that coot, if you can see that coot. They're sort of on the line of the shadow, and just into the shadow. But saying that, it was my right hand rod that went, and it went at about 7 o'clock this morning. I don't know, it's about 7:30 now. Just got the rod back out, and it was out there. You can see that peg over there. It's called Roy's. It was on line with Roy's, about 40 yards out, something like that. I'm not wrapped up. It's just a simple cast. There's clumps of weed growing out there. As long as you get a donk, spread a little bit of bait around it. That seems to have done the trick on a little pop-up, a little banded bait pop-up, rolled by Shane. And here's the fish down there. Let's see if we can see it. Rube, no. Hey, no. Yeah, so stay there, stay. So that's my dog. It's about half the size of the dog. Yeah, he's a good one. He's just resting up. I'm going to get everything ready now, get him photographed and get him back as quick as I can. He is unhooked. I unhooked him straight away, just after the fight. It's usually the best time. I'll get everything ready and I'll try and go through that before I even get him out. But the sun is just popping up now, and he's coming over those trees. And the second he starts shining into this area, I'm sort of hoping I'll get another one. Once it gets too high, I think they'll hit the top. I haven't got no dog biscuits with me, but although it's the end of March, it's definitely worth a shout. Christopher's just turned up this morning at first lighties and steps. Lee Collins was in the bog further down the corner. I don't think he caught last night, and Mike Jarvis was right the way down the other end in the cut, and he said he hadn't had anything. That was about an hour or so ago. Let's see what happens anyway. We'll get this fish sorted and we'll go through a few things. Come on, Rube. It's getting old now, this one. Okay, I think it's a fish called C3PO. It's 2910. And it's my first fish of these videos. He's caught it. Let's see if he'll behave.
couple of seconds for the camera. Just let him settle. Just cover his eyes. Give him a little bit of water. Okay, let's try and get him up. And there he is. An old English carp there, caught on a little bandit bait to pop up. Over about 100 baits. And he's not a bad one, is he? Just under the 30 mark, but still a cracking old fish, that one. He's got a tail damage from the past. We'll just take a look at his other side. Treat his mouth with propolis. Oh, don't want to go that way, mate. Okay. It's my first fish on these vlogs. A nice dark old English one. And that's enough of that. Let's get the propolis on him and then get him back. Just a couple of leeches, 2 or 3 leeches, nothing major. It's about March 24th. Oh God, he's got the odd one in his mouth as well. Let's get rid of that for him. Sticky old leech. And there's the propolis. Hope he recovers well. I'm sure he will do. Get over the 30 mark during the spring. Someone else to catch him. Okay. Zip the sides up. What I do recommend is using the slings to get the fish out of the water and to also return them. Checking on his fins, his tail, which are all fine. Let's get him back. Well, I'm in the Folly swim, and I can see right the way down the sides of the island and into the flat water down there. Willows over there. Still looks wintry through the lens, but it's quite mild. Must be about 11, 12 degrees, something like that. The wind's pushing up here. All the water looks clear. It looks clear down the bottom of the lake as well, which tells you they could be up in the water. I've just seen a slight disturbance in front of, where is he, that grey lag out there? It's in front of Willow's swim. Oh, and there's the first one. See the rings, there he is. There it goes again. So that tells me I'm in the right area. Let's get the bucket round, get the gear round, let's get fishing. Oh. Yep, I think I'll go to Willows. Hopefully there's a lot of fish there and that's just the one that took me away. Come on then, Rib. Let's go. Okay, I'm just going to run over a few things. So far I've seen 3 defo carp and 1 possible. It's
westerly wind. It feels warm to me, but I'm not sure if it's feeling warm to them. It feels absolutely perfect. So cast, it's cloudy, there's lovely ripple on, pressure's low, it's all things carpy, but these carp in here, they just like the opposite to what they're supposed to like. But I've seen 4 fish shows, well 3 fish show and 1 maybe. So I'll just turn around and go through where I've seen them. So my left hand, it's hard to see here, but my left hand rod down there is aimed at what's called the Folly swim, and behind that tree there, about 40 yards out, is where I saw the fish, but I was on the other bank. So I've moved in here, and since moving in, setting up on line with the peg on the other side, let's see, on line with there, about, let me see those birds right over there, I'd say 20 yards short of those, 20 yards back towards us, I saw one which was a maybe. I just caught the after effects, no coot come up and there's no bird life about. I watched for a good few minutes afterwards and I'm pretty sure it was a carp. So because there's no one else on the lake, I cast it over there. It's only about, I don't know, 90 yards maybe, it's not far. So, and then I've cast the middle rod on line with the peg over there, which is called Roy's Corner, which is that highest tree there. Now I have had a liner on that, the indicator flew to the top and then dropped back down. So there is fish about, but when I was just chilling, watching the water like you do, I saw one come out and he was about where it flat goes into the ripple, about another 20 yards out. After that it was only about 30 yards out, 40 yards out maybe, and one come out just there. So there's 2 definites and 1 possible, and the swim to the right, which is down there, there's a channel to the right of that in between the bank and the island, and 1 come out there, which I just saw the after effects of that, and all the birds are screeching, just a big ring where the fish had come out. It's a usual spot, but they're usually passing through. Hopefully they'll come this way and not going away from me. I haven't really had any liners since, anything, just that 1 major liner on the middle rod. But I think I'm in the right place. I'm just going to leave them over light scattering. The 2 rods have got light scattering over. Well, saying that, the left hand rod's got about 100 baits, the right hand rod's got about 30 baits, and the middle rod's just on a single snowman, the other 2 are on pop-ups. Yeah, so I'll just leave it for an hour or 2, see if anything happens, or in case they can start showing anywhere else. And if they do go start showing in another swim, we'll be off and running, because there's just still no one on the water, which is, it's unheard of really. I don't think I've ever seen it like that on here. But with it being like that, is they can run from you, and then they've got the whole lake to go into, which can be awkward. But it looks good for a bite, it really does. Anyway, this is me mix. This is my mix that I've made up last night before I come, and all it is hemp, crushed boilies, whole boilies and half boilies, and there's about 3 kilos in the bag as well, and that's all I've brought with me. I've got some pop-ups there as well, so we'll get them. So these are the pop-ups that I use, and let's see, it might be in reverse for you, but it says Tutiplex, made by a kid called Shane Hyatt, and the real good ones, they've caught me two 40s out of here and countless other 30s. And there's his pink PBX pop-ups. Let's see, and they've caught me, I don't think they've caught me a 40, but they've caught me a lot of, they caught me the Toffee Mouth Common out of here, which is only the second time out this year. It never comes out, and that was 37. Lots of good 30s, and then he makes cork balls for me which match my bait, and they've got what they had. I've had 44 on them in here. A fish called Moon Scale, I think it was them. Yeah, I've had lots of big fish. I've had out of Mary's, had the big lever on them, and that was £59. There's, you know, countless 40s I've had on them. Yeah, so basically, boilie wise, that's all I use. It's a small company. I'll show you the bag they come in, and it's a company called Baits Boilies. I know it's a bit of a plug, but this is just what I use. It's not, I don't get anything for it, I don't get discounts, anything like that. I've been using them for 22 years, and they're the different ones that they make. I'll just leave that up a second so you can have a look. The wind stops blowing, and mine's on the bottom. That's a special, which is male mix. So it does mulberry, honey liqueur, cranberry squid, crab and orange, mulberry squid, the Italian job, and the special. I used the mulberry squid when I first bought them many moons ago. Went on Dovemere for a night, and I took a couple of kilos with me, and I had Dovemeres in Cheshire, Prince Albert ticket, and I had 17 or 18 takes. I think I landed 14, and I thought I'd found the magic bait. However, I changed it up. I used that same base mix, and I changed it up and just added all fishy flavours to it, and come up with this one, and it works a treat. It's before I turned to Dave Doubleday, who makes the bait. I used to make up my own bait, which was it was a trigger base mix when Trigger first come out with the trigger liquid. I used to add all things like red liver oil, squid octopus, Rod Hutch's mulberry, and all like things like green up mussel, liver powders, all that type of stuff. I had that much in it going in it. It cost me a bloody arm and a leg, and I did really well on it. So I was always looking for a bait which was similar. And it's just about as good as it gets. It's probably, I mean, I love that bait, but this bait has been so good to me. It's caught me so many big fish. So yeah, I think with bait though, there's a lot of good ones out there, and you just got to find one which you're really confident in. You've got to find rigs, the rigs they're using, whether they're pop-ups or the bottom baits or snowman or wafters or whatever you're using. And you just got to be happy with the length of them, the size of the hook, the length of the hair, how they land when you're casting out. Everything to do with that side of things. You can put to bed, you put your rigs to bed, and you can put your bait to bed. That's all a given. All you've got to worry about then is the location. And then once you've located them, which is the main problem you're having fishing, or finding where they're feeding, you've got to, it's your bait application. So at the moment I'm thinking to myself, because I'm a bit of at the start of each session, my head is chock out thinking, how much bait shall I put in? Shall I leave it for a bit? There's no one on the water at the moment, so if they're here, do I really want to be flushing them out and, you know, sticking a spom out there for that mix? So I'm treading lightly along the bank and keeping as quiet as I can. I don't, if they were close in, I don't want to be scaring them out into another swim, because I could be, you know, up and down the bank, which I am all the time. But I've got light trainees on, and I know the banks are here, we're a bit higher up, or, you know, a good 8 foot higher up or something like that, to the water level. So as I'm walking along, I'm sure the vibrations are going through the water, and they're probably thinking, here's another angler looking to catch us. So you've got to, I'm trying not to cause that much disturbance, and I'm constantly, even while I'm talking here, I'm constantly watching that water for any signs. The bird life, it is spring, and the birds are a bit more radical, if you like. They're all fighting for territories, fighting for the mates, and when the mallards, you get 7 or 8 mallards fighting over a female and chasing her through your rods and all sorts of stuff. But when you're watching the birds, especially the geese, when they're coming into land or they're taking off, they do flush a few carp every now and then. You just see the water moving, so you get an idea where they are. They might be just sunning themselves in the water, but at least you got some idea what they're doing and why they're not feeding or what they're up to. It's they're just little things like that. You just watch them. If you're struggling to find them, you can't pinpoint them, which I'm struggling at the moment, because the 4 I've seen have been all 4 different areas. One to the left, one right out there, one short here, one right down there. So I'm like, what are they doing? Are they on the move? I can't figure them out at the second, so I'm watching to see if they, you know, if there's no signs of them, watch the way the geese react in case they go past someone, you know, watching their heads bobbing down. There's no swans on at the second, so I'm just looking for little signs of that, listening for the coots screeching. They sometimes give them away. It could be someone else, could be a rat going past or anything, you know, but these are the type of things which to do with watercraft. This is a fairly new wind, so, but it is also a small lake, so I'm not going to just sit on the end of that for the next however many weeks. They may do, but they seem to be on the move, they're circling. And if they're moving like that, they're wasting energy, so they will get hungry. It's just, what day is it today? Tuesday, so it's not a bad day, because there's been a bit of bait going in at the weekend. Doesn't look like no one was fishing yesterday, or they come off yesterday. So we'll keep plugging on, we'll keep working it out. If we start seeing fish elsewhere, or see 1 or 2, or whatever it may be, I'll be packed up and I'll be round there straight away. Yeah, so let's see what let's see what happens next. low 20. Oh, let's see. Where am I? Yeah, I don't know if you can see me there. It's eventually gone off. It's about 1:15, and I just started getting a couple of liners on that rod, and then yeah, it just ripped off, and it's about 23. I'll wait to photograph it, film it in a bit. Just one point there for anyone. If you could see me rig, I'll show you my rig. On there, it's just a stiff hinge rig. But I've unhooked him in the net. The wind's just blowing a bit, so I'll maybe show the rig later. But yeah, I've unhooked him in the net. He's just been through the fight. He's fairly tired. Just be careful not to obviously hook yourself while the fish is still hooked. But it's sometimes a good time just to unhook it. Just wait for it to rest up and then unhook it. You can also stick a new rig on or sharpen up, whatever you want to do. Get your rig back out just while it's resting. So I'm going to give the fish about 10 minutes just to settle itself. I might weigh it up now, put it in a sling, and then get ready for the photographs in a bit. Here we go. Here, just had this one, 22.5. First one up the lake for a little bit. There's a nice little black one. See if he'll sit up, get his fought quite well actually. Let's get him on. Yeah, it's a nice beautiful black one. 22.5 pound. Caught on a little over about 100 baits or so. It's starting to rain, so spinning round, get another look. Get him back. Let's give him some water. Nice little beautiful 22.5 pound mirror. He's a good one, isn't he? I hope you can hear me. It's the final morning. I doubt they haven't really been shown for 2 days. I saw one just on first light yesterday morning. It's about 7:30 in the morning, and they just haven't been shown. The ripples pushing in here, looks good. The sun's coming out, so hopefully they'll get to the corner to my left. May get a take on the left hand rod. But it's been a funny trip because conditions have seemed really good, but there's just nothing happened. I've I did have the 22 on the second day, and then Lee caught the 37 yesterday from over there. He had that at first light. Unbelievably, I started off as the only person on, and I'm only the only person on now, and it's Friday morning. I'll be getting off in a few hours. So I'm riding through bite time now, so hopefully something will happen. I don't know how many cups of coffee I've had, 3 or 4 this morning, just watching the water. I've been down a couple of swims, I've looked down there, and that looks dead as well. But it looks quite nice here. I just can't believe they're not showing it. It's perfect for them. There must be something going on the bottom, you know, with all the insects and things like that. But you would have thought I'd have had liners and they've given me some sort of signs, but nothing's really happened yet. We've got the binoculars and been watching the water for any signs, and you know, you've got to have your glasses, keep looking, and if it's safe to do so, climb a few trees. If you're not happy about doing it, don't be climbing no trees, because there's so many accidents. The last thing you want to do is fall from a tree and could get paralysed or even worse. So yeah, if you do climb the trees, just be very careful. It is a lovely morning, and whoever comes on now will be rubbing their hands thinking it looks blob on, but it's a funny old trip because it's the only trip that I can remember being on here where conditions are quite good. I just haven't been able to pinpoint them, and I've stayed in the same swim because I just think this has looked best. I've been down the other end, it just looks so dead. I've baited up a couple of spots down there, and I can still see the bait. But that's in the margins. I don't think they're in the margins yet, even though the sun's been out. And it's just, they possibly have been in the channels. There's the island to the right here, and there's a slimmer margin which they pass through a lot. And I did see one showing there when I first got here, but I saw one in front, just to the right there, about 25 yards, and I saw one come out twice to my left, and I saw one possible on the other side there, so it told me to fish here, and it worked because I was getting liners straight away, and I think I missed a chance that first morning, and then, well, it happened the second, 1 o'clock the following day, so it wasn't too bad. I don't want to be staying till 1 o'clock, sadly, because it's Friday traffic, and I can turn a 3-hour drive into a 6 or 7 hour drive, and with the dog being diabetic, she's got to be fed by 6:15 and injected by 7, so I've got to make sure I leave by about 11 o'clock to make sure I'm home by, just in case of traffic problems. Yeah, just waiting for some signs to give us some hope, maybe a little liner, fish showing somewhere. If they start showing anywhere, I'll pack down. I've already started to put all stuff away, so I'll pack down and be on my way. I've just got some beans and cheese for in the morning now, so I'm just going to put that on in a minute. Just have me a cup of coffee first, watch the water and see what happens. My dog's chilling out on the bed there. Don't think she wants to come out yet. She's got on there. She's about 12 years of age now, and she was always out and about. But just this year, she's got quite ill, so she's just not full of the same being she used to be, I suppose. Age catches up with all of us, but she's still a great dog, and she's a good fishing companion. There's a chill in the air. Everything was frosty when I woke up this morning, but it reminded me, it wasn't as frosty as when Lee had his 40 a few weeks ago, and Mike Jarvis had his 36, the grams. Oh yeah, there is trouble. Come here then. Come here. Come here. Yeah, so she's woke up now because she heard me talking. Yeah, so we'll just give it another few hours. Hopefully they'll be drifting in from right to left, coming up the channel, short range, maybe 20 yards out. That's what I'd imagine they're doing. Any coming from over there, hit that bank and come along the marginal shelf because it's deep soft. And that's what we're hoping, especially with the sun coming out, it might push them into the corner. And with the ripple on the water, it might keep them low. The pressure's fairly low, so I think the pressure thing has changed over the years. So it's not everyone's like, oh yeah, you've got to have 995 and low pressure this and low pressure that. I've had big hits in here on pressure over 1030s. I've caught 40 pounders when it's been 1035s and all that. That's on big pits though. So I just prefer the pressure a bit higher. She's off to find somewhere sunny to sit. Yeah, let's see what happens anyway. I reckon there's possibly a fish in this just before we go if we catch it right. Yep, fingers crossed.